Who you got?
Well, first of all, I'm not even interested in hearing what Max Kellerman, who he has winning this fight. I want him to save that for me tomorrow night on HBO when I'm watching him, because I will be watching. But let me tell you what I feel, Max. I think Canelo is going to win by a knockout. First of all, he's big time. Secondly, he's a big time puncher. Third, I like the way he looks. I don't like the way Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. looks. I think that the catch weight of 164, if I remember correctly, I think it's a bit small for him. I think he's going to balloon up to 180, 185 pounds before the fight. And more importantly, here's the number one thing, Max, that turns me off about Julio Chavez Jr. He keeps bragging about how he can take it, he can take it. I was watching, you know how you got Canelo and Chavez on HBO and everybody's promoting the fight, them sitting down with you, Max. I saw that, all of this other stuff. Chavez keeps talking about how he can take a punch. The problem with Canelo Alvarez is you don't sit there and use that as your strategy. You don't come into a fight looking forward to taking a punch from Canelo Alvarez. You don't do that. You want to avoid him, make him miss like Floyd Mayweather did when he completely took him to school for the only loss of Canelo Alvarez's career. This dude, Chavez, is going to be a stationary target. He's going to come right at him. His whole objective is, I'm willing to take 2 or 3 punches in order to give one. And more importantly, I don't believe Julio Cesar Chavez realizes every time he talks about taking a punch, Max, he's talking about his chin, when Canelo Alvarez is known as being a body snatcher as well. And I look at Chavez and his body, I don't like what I'm looking at. I think he's going to take shots early, but as the fight progresses, I think he's going to take too much punishment. I think Canelo takes him out in 9. Go ahead.
Okay, look, Canelo is a substantial favorite here because he's treated his career seriously in the sport of boxing with respect.
Correct.
And his own career with respect. And Chavez Jr. has not always done that. The son of the greatest Mexican fighter ever, according to most, including me. Apologies to Salvador Sanchez and Marco Antonio Barrera and others, Ricardo Lopez, but Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. was a bad dude. And
I'm
so
a Salvador
as a result,
Sanchez guy, just so you know. I'm a Salvador Sanchez guy.
Had he not died tragically at the age of 24,
That's right.
he might have been a great, even greater. The point is that, good call. The point is that Chavez Jr. had it a little easier than others in the sense that he was on TV at an early age and celebrated at an early age. And because his dad was who he is, his timing and his skills were maybe more advanced than they should have been. He fights similarly to his father in certain ways in terms of his timing and all of that. So anyway, the result of all this is when he's come in heavy or hasn't seemed to respect the sport, he hasn't always given himself the best chance to win. I believe here he will give himself the best chance to win, even if that means he misses weight. Stephen A., they have a contract that says for every pound Chavez is over the weight, it's $1 million penalty. But let's say that happens and he comes in a couple pounds over the weight. That will indicate that he's willing to spend a couple $1 million in order to have a huge size advantage. Because every pound or 2 you are over the weight is several pounds in rehydration weight you can put on after the fact, because the fight's not for another 24 hours after you weigh in. So you're going to have a big, strong Chavez, even if he does make weight, a guy who likely outweighs Alvarez by at least 10 pounds, who can indeed absorb punishment coming at Alvarez. Now, you mentioned Canelo as a puncher. He's a good puncher, but not a great one. He's really a very accurate, sharpshooting counterpuncher with slick upper body movement who wants his opponent. One of the reasons he looks so bad against Mayweather is not only Mayweather's brilliance, but Canelo doesn't want to have to search and find a guy. He wants his opponent to come to him so he can use his counterpunching skills and land those crisp combinations. Now, the reason this is such a great fight is that's what Chavez Jr. does. He wants you to stand right there so he doesn't have to cut off the ring so he can come right to you. So both guys have in their opponent exactly what they want. That guy's going to stand right there from Chavez's point of view, and from Canelo's point of view, that guy's going to come right to me. Chavez, with the huge size advantage, makes this competitive because if they were really the same size, Canelo would likely, it would not be seen as a competitive fight. The question is, does Chavez's size advantage offset Canelo's skills advantage? The odds makers do not believe so. The odds makers think in a prohibitive way that Canelo's the favorite. He's the prohibitive favorite, rather.